Hey guys, I wanted to come on here and talk to you all about some things I'm using to continue planning. 99% of my planning is done. I know most of you have watched my Pam Barnhill's Plan Your Year review slash curriculum overview. But I am a part of Sarah McKenzie's Read Aloud Revival Premium membership, and I've been working through some of her master classes on there. The one I just finished up actually today is called Focus and Align 2.0, and these are only available to the premium members. It runs around $15 a month. She opens it a couple times a year. So I joined a couple months ago, and it's been great. I've loved it. My kids are loving it. We're getting awesome benefits in there, and I'm especially learning a ton through just the master classes. I really, really enjoy them. If you can't tell, I enjoy listening to podcasts and just trying to grow my knowledge in what we want to do. So this Focus and Align 2.0 is a class that she held, and it basically teaches you how to focus your day and focus in on what you really want out of your school. And so she started out, there was 4 classes, and they run around an hour to an hour and a half long. So it's a pretty big deal. I mean, it wasn't a quick little 1-hour session. She held them last year, and it went over 4 weeks, actually. But I did them over about 4 or 5 days. So she has you start off by taking stock in who you are. And it talks about what you're doing good in your homeschool, what you don't feel like you're doing good at, what you think needs more work, what you wish you had, what you look forward to most in your day. It talks about what's the most stressful time in your day, and what you, like the one question is, more than anything else, the thing I need to work on to be a better homeschool mom is, and she talks about how to make yourself better. Then you go through and you interview your kids, and they ask questions like, if you could learn about anything in the world, what would it be? What's your favorite part of school? What's your least favorite part? What's your most frustrating part? And the last question was, I wish we did more of blank in our homeschool. And so they had to fill in the blank. And surprisingly, my kids all said field trips and science. I was like, well, we do a lot of both, but science is I'm not crazy. That's why we're focusing more on nature study, just because that's easier for me. After that, she has you in the first week. You finish up the week by going through and you write down some things that you would consider to be when you're falling towards the negligence side and when you have anxiety, so that you can start noticing your triggers. So some of the ideas that are red flags for me are when I'm falling into the negligence side of my school day, if I'm not being very diligent in school, then it might be my kids are on screens too much. We're not doing read alouds at all, or very little. I feel guilty about taking breaks. Like, oh man, we've just taken all these breaks, but I want to take another break, so we're going to. We're not making much progress. We're starting later and later in our morning. Maybe I'm being more relaxed and it's like getting 10, 11 o'clock and we still haven't started. Those are all signs that I am being negligent in our school day. Anxiety would be, for me, like grade levels, focusing on what grade the kids are supposed to be in, comparing myself to other people, comparing my kids to one another or other children. Starting to think that I need something new just to revamp things. That's not necessarily wrong, but if I'm getting to that point, then I'm obviously very anxious. Starting to worry about the outcome. So our goal is rest, and that's something she talked about. You know, we're constantly in a state of either going towards, what was the wording that she used? I wish I could remember. All I know is our goal is rest. We need to fight to be in a state of rest, and it's very hard. And so basically this whole kit goes through how to get to that rest, how to make sure that is the biggest thing that we're trying to focus on. For myself, I need that. I need to feel like my day is going to be restful, in that we're going to get done what needs to get done, but I want to do it in the best way and in the way that God wants me to. If I'm not in a restful state, I am freaking out at my kids. I'm yelling at everybody. I'm screaming at everybody. I'm telling them what to do, and no one's happy. And usually there are tears by that point. So the second session she went through, and she talks about what's true about you. So you go through and you write different things that are true about you. Some of the questions are you an introvert or an extrovert? Are you a lark or an owl? Simplicity or abundance? Are you a finisher or an opener? And basically these are just to get you thinking about who you are as a homeschooling mom. We're all different. So what your friend might be doing with her kids is not going to work for you. And that's something I've really had to struggle with because, you know, we all want to do. We see somebody else doing something, we think, oh, they're doing so well at that. I want to do that too. We could do that. But here's the thing. If I'm not a person that has that type of personality, it's not going to work in my family. If my kids don't work that way, it's not going to work in my family. We are morning people. We get up, we're going by 7:30, 8 o'clock. My kids are all dressed and ready to go. So essentially, if somebody's doing something in the afternoon, that's not going to be the best time for us regularly, unless we're finished with school, because I can't, you know, just the way we shift things, we need to make sure that what we're putting in our days represents who we are. And so I found this really, really helpful in focusing in on my strengths. And so then she has you set yourself up for success. So you take those truths that you wrote down, and she has you break them down even more. So like for truth, I was an introvert. Here's an example. So I'm an introvert. So how do I set myself up for success? Well, I need to plan regular downtime. I can't fill every single day full of events and things that we want to do, even though part of me really wants to do that for my kids and for myself. I enjoy it, but after day 2, I'm done. I'm ready to kill everyone. I can't handle being here, and I'm freaking out. So I have to make sure that I am regular planning in margin or downtime. Hang on one second. Sorry about that. The video was screwing up. So something else, simplicity was one of my things. I desire simplicity. So something to set myself up for success would be don't over purchase, don't over schedule, don't our school weeks. So making sure that what I choose is going to be used, because when I have extra things on my plate that we don't really need, it just causes a weight that's on my shoulders, feeling like I have to have that. I need to use it. Another way for myself was novelty. I like things to be new. I like things to be exciting and fresh. So something I can do for that is maybe try block scheduling so that my schedule shifts. So we're not doing the same exact routine the entire school year. Most of my routine will be the same, but I want to pull in some new subjects so that way, which if you remember on my plan your year, I did do that this year. I used block scheduling a lot. So that way we have new things that I can look forward to. So that way, if we get sick of music or we get sick of art, we know, hey, in 6 to 12 weeks, whatever it is that I scheduled, we're going to start something new. So that way, that new novelty, excitement will return to me. So those were just a couple things. Also during this week, she has you and your husband go through and look at a 20-year vision. And she asks you, what do you want your kids to use, or what words do you want your kids to use when they are describing their homeschool? So you write down things that you would hope they would be saying. And then you say, what do you want your kids to say when, in 20 years, when they talk about you as a mother? And so you write these words down. And these words become your, what she called, compass. And this compass describes what you want to happen in your year, in your entire career of homeschool, essentially. You're going to reevaluate this every year. It'll change year to year too, I'm sure, in some ways. However, if I want my kids to talk about our homeschool with these words and talk about me with these words, and same with my husband, he also filled out these 2 questions And it said, what do you want them to say about you as a father, a homeschool father, about your wife, and about their homeschool? What do you want them to say? And so these words are huge. They are what we want our kids to feel when they look back. So it only makes sense that we would plan our year around these words, because I want them to be what comes up. So some examples that came up were, I want them to say it was fun, that we had all kinds of family time, that we read all the time, that we had time to explore and go on adventures, that I was patient, that I was loving and kind to them, that I was fun, that I was always willing to go on an adventure with them, that I loved being with them, and that I loved reading aloud to them, that we enjoyed many books. And my husband said things like fun, exciting, educational. Mom put a lot of effort into giving us the best education for each of us. Another word was faithful. So all of these words are going to become like a giant compass. Imagine a circle with all of these words written out. That's what I want to plan my school year from. Not necessarily subjects that I feel they need right away. We're going to plug those in later. That you'll see. But I just thought that was genius. Like, why wouldn't we start there? I want them to go from where I want to see them when they grow up, not where I think they have to have right now, or what I think they have to have right now. So from there, we went to week 3. And in week 3, we started building what she calls, or what's coined, the rule of 6. And this, I thought, just blew my mind. Like, oh my gosh, that makes so much sense. I feel like I say this over and over again. But anyway, so the rule of 6. You take your compass words, which we just got done talking about, and you write them down the side. And on the bottom, you write something that's non-negotiable. So if there's anything that comes up in here that did not fit, like there's something that you really, really expect your kids to have to be completely educated and it didn't make your list, your compass words, you add it here. Mine is math. Surprise, surprise. If you followed me for any length of time, you know math is just not my thing. And science, but science will pepper itself in here. We still do it. All right, so the words I wrote were fun, loving, faithful, relaxed and at my own pace, explore, adventures, challenging, family, books, good conversation, and faith-inspired. So I know this is kind of messy and lots of arrows, so it's hard to follow. But over here, you're going to turn these words, in your compass words, into actions. And basically, you're going to turn them into a verb so that you know what you need to do to make those words a reality for your homeschool. And so for fun, for instance, so my first word was fun. We're going to use games and challenges in our day that make it fun. I combined loving and relaxed at my own pace. Okay, so something else. You're going to create all of these over into 6. You want to have 6 actions that you want to be able to complete. And these can kind of be like a check mark, a check box that you can use for the month or the week, or you're not rarely ever going to get through them all in one day. So if you are, you're being a superstar. And sometimes you might, but most days you're just going to get to a few of them. So I think I'm going to use this as kind of like a weekly, maybe a bi-weekly list. I'm going to have them typed up. I haven't done this yet because I just finished it today. But I want to have them kind of typed up so that each week each couple weeks I can print off a new list and say, hey, am I hitting the things that I want my kids to have? Or am I just focused in on, the straight education of them and not really looking forward to what do I want my kids to see and remember? So anyways, back to what I was saying. So my next one, I combined loving and relaxed at my own pace. And I I wrote out seek joy, laughter, and delight in our day. The next one, I combined faithful, family, and faith-inspired because they all kind of go together. And those ones were, my action plan was pray, forgive, and seek God. Challenging, I used for math and writing. We want to develop proficiency in math and writing. And that also ties in my non-negotiable math. Family would be spending meaningful time together. Explore, challenge, and I don't know. Why do I have those? I don't know what I see. Oh, explore and adventure. Sorry, I'm getting all confused. It's too crazy. Take opportunity to explore, go on field trips when possible. And also that includes like going to the library and making sure we have time to pursue our interests. So that's a rundown of my rule of 6. So then I come over here and I break it down so that you can actually see. So these are my things that I'm going to actually work through, that I want to make sure I'm hitting, because these are what reflect my compass words, my guide for what I want my kids to say. So we want to, number 1, pray, forgive, seek God. Number 2, seek joy, laughter, and delight. Number 3, play games together and have fun. Number 4, spend time reading books and talking about them. Number 5, be adventurous and pursue personal interests. And number 6, develop solid math and writing skills. And honestly, some of this kind of overlaps with what I've already done with Plan Your Year. And that's okay. I feel like I'm just finding more of a narrow path. I'm narrowing it down to what I want our school year to look like. And it really is helping me see where we're at and what I truly do want. So then after that, she has you plug in your subjects, the subject areas that fall with your rule of 6. So you write your 6 areas and your top 2. So your top 2 are, you're going to choose 2 items from this rule of 6 that, if Pam Barnhill calls it your most valuable day or something like that. I can't remember. But if you were to have everything fail, and it's like school had to pretty much go out the window and you could only do a couple of things in your day, and to call it for your own personal satisfaction done, that you did school, what were the 2 main things from this rule of 6 that you would want done? And I wrote number 1, which was seek God, pray, and forgive. I want that in my day-to-day thing. I want my children to understand that. And number 4 was read books, and talk about them. If we do those 2 things, I'm happy. Those are our main things. Math would probably be up there because 9 times out of 10, I make sure math is thrown in because I feel like they need that repetitive going, because I'm just not good with math and I feel like they need it. But if I do those 2 things, possibly 3, my day is good. And I'm going to call it done. If everything is going bad, that's what we're doing. So anyway, so you break these down into your subjects. So over here, you do devotionals and Bible studies for number 1, which is pray. Number 2 was joy and laughter. The only way I'm going to get that is if I plan time and I plan in margin for my day. If I don't have that, I turn into psycho woman. Ask my kids and my husband. So I need to make sure I'm not overfilling my kids' days. Number 3, play games. That can go for math. That can go for all subjects. We need to play games together in order to fill in that fun side of things. 4, read books and talk about them. That can be read alone books for their enjoyment, and we can have great conversations around them. That can be history, literature, geography, science, pretty much anything. Anything you think about, we can read and talk about them. Seek adventure and personal interests. That includes field trips, science, nature study, the library. I want to make sure these things happen. They don't have to all happen every time. Like, I don't have to make sure I do a field trip every single week, but I need to make sure they take priority in my weeks because I want them to have that. And lastly was math and writing skills. Well, the only way that's going to happen is if I plan out math and writing in our weeks. So that was the end of week 3. After week 3, which I actually didn't go through and do this part because I've already purchased my curriculum. I already know what's going into each box, so I don't need to do it. But what she has you do is she has you write out the subject of whatever. So say I was going to use math. Or no, I don't want to use math. Let's do, as an example, we'll do seek God, pray, and forgive. That was my rule number 1. So subject, I might put Bible time. And the rule of 6 applied, I would write seek God, pray, and forgive. And then my curriculum choices. So I purchased, all the kids have their own devotional. They'll have their own Bible. So I would write that down in here, and I would maybe write the devotional books that I found to do as a family as well. And then down here, I filtered through my compass words. So it's basically making a giant circle to make sure that you're hitting what you want to hit. And so you'd write your compass words. And my compass words would be like my faith, sharing. We learned a lot about our faith. We learned about God, prayer, those things. Those are the words that I want my kids to come back and say, like, they gave me a firm foundation in our faith. Something like that. So then you basically would apply these to every one of your subject areas. However, you only want to do this with the subjects that go through your rule of 6. It's really tempting to pick out everything under the sun and make it fit. But remember on my rule of 6, how I said I wanted to make sure I have delight and laughter and fun in my day? Well, if I choose everything I have on my shelves and plug it in, I'm not going to have joy and laughter, because I'm going to be so focused on checking a box and making sure we do something that I will forget that it's not that important. I want those things for my kids, but everything that I put in my plan has to line up with my rule of 6. And so in sharing all of this, I just wanted to let others know, like, for one, if you can join Read Aloud Revival's premium membership, it's fantastic. Everything that she puts out I found super helpful, especially with getting your kids interested in reading. You're reading yourself, just creating that reading culture in your home, which I think is so huge for just teaching your children. Number 2, if, these kinds of classes are what she calls master classes, because they're honestly master classes for homeschooling moms. We're not going to school. We're not going to college to learn how to homeschool our children. We don't have we might have the opportunity to do something like that, but it's not teaching us how to homeschool. These types of things and others out there that are like her are so good at teaching us how to find our children right where they are and bring it back down so that we can be successful at our job. This is our job. This is what we've chosen to do. We want to make sure that we do it, do it so it's pleasing to the Lord, pleasing to our children, pleasing to our spouse, and pleasing to us. If we don't do that, we're going to burn out and we're just going to totally flop. So if you can join something like that, or find podcasts, find things to help enrich your homeschooling career, I think it's priceless. It really does help shape you as a homeschool mom or dad, if you're watching it as a dad. So anyways, this was a Focus and Align 2.0 through Sarah Mackenzie's Read Aloud Revival Premium membership. If you want more information about certain aspects of this, I can let you know. But yeah, that's it. All right, we'll see you next time.